Welcome back to the BlindishLatina YouTube channel, and today I have something very special for you. This channel is all about accessible travel, but let's also think about activities like we like to do when we travel. Going to the arts and entertainment experience when you're traveling is something that I like to do, like going to the theater or seeing a concert. What about you? For this video, I arranged a behind the scenes visit to the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, which is located in Washington, D.C. The Kennedy Center is a very well-known institution. It's super big and it's on the river. It has beautiful water views, and they're doing all kinds of performances, from comedy to musical theater to regular theater, and then of course like ballet, musical performances. They have children's entertainment performances. So they're doing just a wide variety of things. And what I wanted to know is, how are they handling accessibility? We were able to meet with the team and get all the answers right from them. We met Betty Siegel, who is the director of the Office of Accessibility and VSA, as well as Sarah, who works in social media. Shout out to Sarah. And we were able to visit 2 theaters at the Kennedy Center, where we got to see some of the different things that they're doing for accessibility. Because everyone deserves to access the arts, no matter whether that's in the United States or abroad. Everyone deserves to have that access. The arts are beautiful. They feed the soul. They're wonderful to connect with. Like, everyone has the things that they like. I really like jazz, for example. So if I see a really good jazz concert, oh, I am so happy. I feel like just buoyant afterwards. Like, that was magical. So when we got to the Kennedy Center, Betty and Sarah went with us to the theaters and to show us all the things that they're doing currently for accessibility. And also, like everyone in every institution, there's always more to do, more to learn, because accessibility is a journey. Some of the things that we saw or we talked about were audio description. Now, audio description is for people who are blind, or that's the main group that can benefit, but maybe there are other groups that I don't even know about that benefit from audio description. In this case, audio description requires someone to be describing what's happening on stage and to find the places to put in this information. The audio describer has to know the show well, because they're not going to talk over the dialogue. So they have moments of time where they can fill in the gaps when movement is happening. Maybe there's an action scene, like, you never know. And they're going to fill in those gaps, because if you're not seeing what's happening on stage, you're only relying on audio to understand and enjoy. So there is technology that helps the communication between the person who's doing the describing and the people that are attending. So we learned about that. We saw it. We met someone who does this professionally. And that was really cool.
So
Okay, so you're set up here.
Yeah.
You have a view what's going on.
Right. And I can hear the stage sound through a speaker, which is there with the red light. That's the speaker.
Another thing we talked about was captions. Captions are huge for me. I wear hearing aids and I have some usable vision. So I have enough vision to read captions, and they help me so much. Betty talked to me about the different options that they have for captions. They have some performances that have open captioning. We talked about having captions on a tablet that they could attach to someone's seat. You're saying that it would be matching exactly what's on the captioning?
Yes, on the large screen. Sometimes we do the large screen and we will have someone with low vision.
Yeah.
And the distance between the chair and where the captioning sign is too far for them.
Too far.
Or it's just, it doesn't work with their vision loss.
Yeah.
So we will put an iPad like this, and that way we have more control over the size of the font, the darkness and lightness of the screen, and they have more control over where it is.
Yeah.
And how close it is, because this can come all the way up to them.
It can come, oh wow. Very close. Okay.
And I didn't even bend it as much as I could.
Wow.
So if you really have low vision and you know what your depth is, where you need it to be, you just adjust this to where you want it. And you can position it so it's a little bit more in your plane of vision.
Yes, I
Not
think
perfect.
so. I'm like just imagining if I was seeing a show right now, it would be a lot better from this angle.
Yeah. And
to
you
be able
can
to
sit,
integrate the captions.
yeah, and you can sit anywhere you want. Any seat, anywhere.
We are having the iPad affixed here and looking right out to the stage.
We have assistive listening devices in every theater. We use infrared assistive listening devices for people. So basically, at the they're kind of always on, but at the bottom there's a slider that you can slide to change the volume. That's a slider, so it's at the highest volume now. If you push the slider, you can change the volume up and down.
Okay, that's
Okay.
volume.
Now the way it turns on, these are kind of interesting, is that they turn on when you open them up
Okay.
and
so
put
just
them
this
on your
motion.
ears. Yep.
Okay.
And you'll hear it if you, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but I hear
felt a
beep.
vibration when I
Yeah,
opened
there's like a little beep. And then you wear it facing the stage. Because these are infrared, they're triggered by light waves.
Oh, okay.
So the front of this receiver has to see a panel that's transmitting this light wave to you, which is carrying the sound. This is for audio description and for amplification.
And they can choose what they want?
It's multi-channeled.
Okay. We also talked about ASL, American Sign Language, so ASL interpretation, how they provide that, different ways, different options for that, including some performances that are pre-scheduled. But what I really appreciated about what they shared is that they're going to provide accommodations to people, even if they want to attend performances that don't already have them. If you can't attend their performance that says, okay, that has ASL interpretation and you need to go a different day, you can still contact their office. And they will make their very best effort to make sure that you have that ASL interpretation, which I think is fabulous and really important because we shouldn't be restricted to only attend accessible performances. We're humans too. We're busy. It doesn't always work with our schedule.
Is put the interpreters right here where you were filming before.
Okay.
And so you're facing the whole audience here. As it's stadium style seating, meaning you have the steps, anybody in here can see the interpreters. You can sit anywhere.
You were saying that for a show like this, you have
Three
multiple
interpreters.
interpreters that are signing the whole time and they've taken on different parts and they're representing different actors.
Yep.
And then you also have a Dazzle, director of artistic sign language.
That's correct. So what the Dazzle does is that's the director of artistic sign language. And the Dazzle is responsible for making sure that the interpretation accurately reflects what's going on stage. And they also make sure that the interpreters are working together as a team so that if we are singing a song together, because our two characters are singing a song, that our signing is synchronized and matches as well. And we always have a member of the deaf community who takes on the role of the director of artistic sign language because they're the ones who really know both languages in a way, and then the interpretation is very authentic.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I also wanted to talk about how you get the accessibility set up. So we were talking that there are specific performances that will be designated. They have captions, they have audio description, and you can buy tickets for those performances. You already know they're going to be accessible, and you said it's like 3 or 4 maybe out of the whole run. But if you buy your ticket, you can also contact the box office or the Office of Accessibility and request accessibility for the performance that you're attending, even if it's not already present, and you will work hopefully with advance notice to get the people.
Advance notice helps, but we try, our motto is to make every effort to accommodate the person who's coming when they want to come.
I feel like what you are doing here is a national model. What do you have other theaters that you look to and you say, oh wow, we're still striving to be like them?
Yes, I do think we are a model, but I also am so appreciative that people that are in the cultural community are very sharing. So we always look to other people. We were, for example, definitely not the first theater to offer sensory-friendly performances. Really, it was our colleagues in New York and other parts of the country. And we looked to the work that they were doing, and we called them and we said, we want to do what you're doing. And they shared all their information. They shared what worked, what didn't work. And we were able to take that and apply it here. So what's beautiful is that there's a really lovely network of accessibility people at theaters around the country.
Just see the notice about the strobe lights outside. So that's obviously, it's not just for people with epilepsy. There's other people that could be impacted by strobe lights. But so what happens in a sensory-friendly performance?
In a sensory-friendly performance, what happens on stage stays pretty much exactly as it is. We don't try to change the art.
Oh, okay.
Right? So we leave the art as it is, but we do realize that the issue with the people who are neurodiverse is not that it's too loud or it's too soft. It's that we want to set expectations. So we will do a pre-visit story where we will send it out in advance to everybody who buys tickets for a sensory-friendly performance. And it'll say, when you get to the theater, this is going to happen. And then when you go in the theater, this is going to happen. And then during the show, there may be strobe lights, there may be loud noises, there may be anything that might trigger people. And so we let them know in advance that it's going to happen. We do ask sometimes if there's, like, for example, a loud cannon boom. We might ask our sound guys just to take that noise down a little bit. We don't ask them to take it out.
Yeah.
We just ask them to take it down. The house lights in the theater will stay at what we call half, meaning they never go completely out.
We learned about, in one theater, there was a screen in the lobby that transmits the performance at exactly the same time. So that could be great if someone is overwhelmed from a sensory perspective. They can go out into the hall and not miss anything. But it also helps so many other people, like a parent who has a child that's making noise. They can go over to the hallway and continue watching the performance as well. They don't have to miss out. We also looked at how the theaters were designed, the layout, the seating. We learned about what places in the theater they had options for wheelchair users to sit, for anyone who needed more space as well, where you could stay in your chair or you could transfer out of your chair but then have a space for your wheelchair there. And really, one thing I appreciated too was seeing that one of the most important things is very similar to what I talk about in my corporate trainings, flexibility. Because when you think about theaters, a lot of the seats, you can't move them. They're in a row, they're stuck there. But what they had for the wheelchair users and anybody else, they had a row with flexible seating, with chairs that could be moved forward, back, side, in any configuration that they needed. So I liked seeing that connection to a principle that I always talk about when it comes to accessibility.
So this is the Eisenhower Theater at the Kennedy Center. It seats about 1,600 people. And it's got some of our really excellent accessibility features built into this space. The aisles that lead up and down so the audience comes in and out are all ramped, but there are no steps. Cross aisle.
Cross aisle. Okay.
So you have the up and down aisles, and then you have this one main aisle that cuts across the orchestra.
This seat doesn't pull up and down. It doesn't have that same kind of construction.
No.
And this is for wheelchair accessibility.
So if you're an older adult using a walker or a younger adult using a walker, you may not want to have us take this chair away because you want to sit here. So you can come down your walker, you can sit in this chair, you can fold your walker up, and you can keep your walker right here beside you.
So how does someone get this box if they want it?
You buy it.
It's
online.
just on the map.
It's
They
on
can
the
buy
map.
it. Is it a different price to get the box?
We've carefully constructed all the accessible locations to ensure that we've got wheelchair accessible locations in every price.
At every price.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
you've got the center aisle, the center seats. Those are probably our most expensive seats because they're our best seats.
Yeah.
You have these, which are probably in a different zone. And then there are seats at the back of the theater that are also wheelchair accessible. They have that same loose chair configuration. Those would be the cheaper ones. And then the boxes have accessible seating on them. So if you want to be sitting up there with the people who are kind of the ones to look at, you can. And if you want to sit in the balcony, you can
Okay.
sit in the absolute cheapest seats in the house as well. We have a painting by Chihuly, and we have a sculpture by Chihuly, who is a person who's blind.
Oh,
And then there's one of his sculptures right here above the steps on your left.
beautiful. He's so prolific.
Yeah. Now this one does have steps though in the center
I
aisles.
see that. I see the steps have handrails on either side.
Yeah. There's one fixed seat on the end, and people always ask, why is this here? And it's-
why is this?
Yeah, why is this one fixed? But all of these are these loose chairs, so. And there's one on each end. And it's because when we designed this theater, we had, with all of our theater renovations, we have an advisory group of people with a variety of different disabling conditions. They felt in this theater, the way this aisle works, that the loose chairs just felt like they were floating in space. There wasn't a sense of a row, a deliberate design choice to create the feeling that you're in a row.
Okay.
In the theater we were in originally, the wheelchair seats were back, right? And people crossed in front of you. And we learned from that for the person who's sitting here, you don't want people constantly going back and forth in front of you. So we asked the architects to figure out a way to make it so that you sit in front and people cross behind you.
Yeah.
But that's also why they wanted this. Oh, another thing we did on the handrails. This is interesting. There's 3 little hash marks here on the end of the handrails, you'll notice.
You said what?
There are 3 little marks.
Oh, they're marks. Okay.
They're tactile.
Yes.
And we did that on purpose so that we would sort of warn people that something's happening as you come to the end of the step.
I'm curious because you're already here.
Yeah, you're already there, but not everybody uses a cane. So older adults with low vision sometimes are a little hesitant on the steps.
Yeah, so they're coming just like
So they don't have the cane to tell them
they're
what's going
here
on.
and then they just learn this indicator.
That's an indicator. So there's 2 ways that you can get from this level to the front of the theater. One is you can go down the steps if you're comfortable with those.
Yeah.
And the second is there's an elevator right where the Chihuly was.
Oh.
There's an elevator that takes you down to this lower level.
Okay.
That cross aisle again.
Okay.
Cross aisle, second cross aisle.
Nice. This is the elevator now to go down to the middle aisle or the lower
cross aisle. And this is where they cleverly put restrooms.
the bathroom.
The bathrooms are right there, so you can get to the restrooms easily. Gender neutral accessible restrooms. So a restroom that's just for one user. So you could use it as a family restroom. Dad can take his daughter in there. You can use it if you're trans and you're not comfortable picking a gender, you can use this restroom. And if you're a wheelchair user who needs some kind of assistance, this is the restroom you're going to want to use. But we have them in all the theaters on every level and in all these public areas.
And you're saying every other bathroom is wheelchair accessible
All
as
of
well?
them are wheelchair accessible.
Amazing.
All public restrooms are wheelchair accessible.
Woohoo!
Yay! Woo!
I'm seeing that this is very wide.
It's very wide.
Very wide.
Now, in this, the chairs did move back to this back position.
Oh, okay. These are loose chairs
Yeah.
also.
The end chair is a
same.
fixed seat, and then loose chairs.
And there's a lot of them.
Yeah, all wheelchair accessible. And then there are a few steps down to the front.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Betty, but the chairs that are currently here have arms.
Yeah.
But we also have an option for armless chairs.
Oh,
As
nice.
sometimes patrons prefer a chair with arms, especially to help them get down into the seat or back up. A lot of our elderly patrons do.
Yeah.
But some people prefer a seat with no arms. We also have bariatric seats. If someone is larger, they can sit more comfortably.
The removable armrest.
Okay.
So you have chairs with armrests, chairs without armrests, but in these fixed seats, you have chairs that have this movable armrest. See, this one goes up and down.
Like when you were in school and you could fold the desk up.
Yeah. And the idea for those is that there are people for whom that's just more comfortable getting in and out of the chair. So let's say you wanted to transfer. I can move this chair out.
Yeah.
I can take this arm up.
Yeah.
you then can make the transfer sideways to the seat.
Okay.
Without
Yes.
this arm being in the way. And
Yes.
then you can put it back down.
That's
And you'll
very
see if you
cool.
look closely, there's a little wheelie guy. Removable armrests. It has to do with true integration of people with disabilities into the theater environment.
Awesome.
So let's pretend you're the director
Yes.
and you're directing the show.
Uh-huh.
And you sit out here in the audience and you watch what's going on. And you want to go up on stage because some actor is not doing the right thing. And you just like, oh, I just have to show you myself.
You have to correct your actor.
Leap up out of your chair. You come along here. There's a handrail right here, but only for a short way. And then on the side to your left, you feel there's a lip, right? So that helps guide you.
Stay to the right.
Stay to the right. Stay to the right. And now you're on stage. They will usually have all the lights off in the theater.
Yes.
But they always leave one light on for the ghost.
That's like a
It's also
theater
to keep, it's such a fun
story.
thing. So this is our ghost light.
I really appreciated the passion that Betty has for what she does. This was 100% authentic. You can just tell when somebody loves what they do and is committed to it. And those are the kind of people that we need in accessibility. I also appreciated her hearing about how the accessibility professionals in the performing arts are connected cross-institutionally. They're sharing best practices, they're having conversations. And that's what we need too, so that we don't have one institution that's an amazing example, and then you go to another city and their institution is not at the same level. We really need everyone to be best in class and amazing examples where accessibility is provided. After enjoying a wonderful visit, and of course, getting those water views, we headed off to a deaf-owned pizzeria, also in Washington, D.C., called Mozzeria. But I'm gonna say it in Italian, okay? Because I am studying Italian. Mozzeria. It was so cool because, okay, I have had this place on my map, my list of places to visit, because I actually saw it on TV. It was on Somebody Feed Phil, which I do watch. It's kind of fun combination of food and travel, so I am here for it. Getting to visit there in person is just really exciting when you see something on TV and you're like, I'm here. When we got to the restaurant, I already knew this a little bit about what was going to happen. Everyone on the staff is deaf and uses ASL to communicate. I'm here at a deaf-owned restaurant in Washington, D.C. called Mozzeria. They have two locations. One is here and one is in California, I believe in the Bay Area. And they were featured on Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix. So that's how I first found out about them. And I really appreciate that. First of all, you're giving deaf people jobs, which there are not that many places that people who have ASL as their primary way of communicating are going to be welcomed and embraced. It's going to be harder to get jobs, but here's a place that they can definitely work. So I love that. I feel very relaxed. If you haven't heard of listening fatigue, it's something that happens for not just people with hearing disabilities, but when you struggle and put effort into listening all day, that can be super draining. So this environment can actually be restorative. We communicated in the beginning. There was a sign when we got in that said what we had to do. And so written communication was a big thing at Mozzeria. I think we had to put up a number for like whatever our option was. Like there were different phrases like, oh, you have a reservation, or whatever it is, you have a pickup order. So that was great. Perfect way to let everyone know your expectations and address common scenarios. When we sat down, we interacted with our server through a board that he would write on, and then we could wipe that, and I could write on it, my partner could write on it, and we could communicate and ask questions about the menu. It's a pizza place, so we ate some pizza. Yeah, it was good. It was very tasty, and that's what we experienced at Mozzeria. Our server was so fun, like had a great personality, and then we were connecting because we're both Latine. So I was like, oh, where's your family from? He's like, where's your family from? So I had so much fun, and it was nice to like even communicate a little bit with some basic signs that I learned when I took an introductory ASL course. I don't practice them enough, but just to pull out something that's felt good to be able to do. So if you're going to plan a trip to DC or you live in the area, I highly recommend that you check out Mozzeria and support them. This day exploring accessibility in Washington, DC was so much fun and very encouraging. When you see people who are doing things right, it gives you that hope that the world is going in the right direction, that things are getting better for inclusion and accessibility, and also that you're not alone in the work. I think intellectually, I know I'm not alone. There are tons of advocates, there are tons of initiatives, but being connected and having those conversations and seeing the initiatives and the things people are doing in person really brings that to light in a whole new way for me. It's very energizing. If you want to see more videos on inclusive and accessible travel, subscribe to BlindishLatina and let me know all your questions in the comments, and I will see you next time.